Yo, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's video. I genuinely appreciate you as always. For today's video, I just wanted to come on here and do a quick little discussion piece about something that's very important to me. There's probably 1 quintillion videos about this topic already, but my take on it could be, in addition to it, because why not? And that topic is one love. To keep it short and simple, the other day I was on Snapchat and I was having a discussion with a friend, and we were just talking about a bunch of stuff, and the topic of, working came up, and we just went into a whole dialogue about how that is slavery and that people shouldn't need to work in order to survive, in order to live, in order to have, a life. And the fact that even if you do work, that doesn't guarantee that you have a life. You kind of really are a slave to the system at that point, because you work 40 to 50 to 60 hours a week and you have 2 days off to yourself, and it's not even really to yourself because you're using those days to catch up on rest to work for the job, the same job that you are trying to. So there's that whole perpetual cycle of slavery, and you never really get to live up to your full potential and things you can do in life, people you can meet, experiences you can make, because you're so focused on generating money to put a roof over your head, buy food, when in reality, that should not be the case. We were put here on this earth to spread love, is what I truly think. And you can't really do that when you can't even make a connection with the person that lives next door to you, a neighbor, or can't even live up to your full potential and enjoy life when you can't even eat food for free. And I know what you're thinking, that might sound foolish because, the way we are raised and the way we came up in the world, nothing should be free, right? But that's not the case. Food grows on trees. It does, whether you know it or not. There's no way possible that everywhere you look, there shouldn't be vegetation, like food, growing, accessible to pick and to eat for free and to live for free. I'm about to put a clip into the video. Feel free to pause so you can stop and read the chat, because I know I'm scrolling a little bit fast here, and I just want to touch on a few points that I mentioned in the discussion itself. So yeah, pretty much the discussion started with her and me talking about her paying her bills, because she has 2 jobs, and that's cool and all, in society that's what you need to do in America in order to even have a comfortable living. But in actuality, that's slavery. I just have to keep saying that word. It is slavery, because you really don't have much time to yourself. But she was talking about how she loves her jobs or whatever because she gets money, and pretty much I just told her that I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to paying bills. And you may think that sounds like a weak man in hard times, or whatever opinion you may have on that statement. It doesn't really matter to me, because when you think about it, nobody should be paying bills. You should not need to pay in order to live. Like I said in the conversation, you pretty much sacrifice freedom and happiness in order to play along in this play that we live in. It's really a play. There's no reason why this is set up the way it is, and a reason why we've been going along with it for as long as we have. And even though she is somebody who works 2 jobs in order to support herself, she understands how it's BS that that's even a thing that we need to do in order to live. And as I said before, when you get to the nitty-gritty of it, there's no reason to pay for it, because food grows on trees. That's one of the main points that I want to keep iterating, because it's true. When you look around, you don't see food everywhere around you, because that's the way they set it up. It can be a possibility. When I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, pretty much every street that I walked down, there was orange trees growing. Like, you could literally step on an orange every step you took if you weren't careful. And that's the way it should be with every other kind of fruit and every other kind of tree. There should be food everywhere. You could just walk outside, pick, grab, and eat if you're hungry. You don't have to go to the supermarket and buy some food. You never know what process it took in order to get to that place in the first place. And housing too. Even though housing requires labor, there's more than enough resources and space in order for everybody to be housed. There should never be a homeless person ever. When you think about it, how can you be homeless when Earth is your home? And then she went on to say how that can't really be a possibility because, farmers own the trees and the land is owned by somebody and blah, 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 blah. And I just keep iterating to her like, no, that's not real. It's all made up. It's for the Matrix. How can anybody own land when you came from the dirt, I came from the dirt, and when you die, we all go back anyway? And then, I gotta sprinkle in my little optimism by telling her, that's not gonna always be the case. One day is gonna be, something's gonna shift, and we all gonna realize how foolish this game is. really the biggest thing that stops people, other than the mindset of saying that, there will never be that change or that we can't do it or whatever, it's separation. Once people get over the idea, the prison that is separation, when you realize that we are all connected, we all live on this earth, we all have to take care of it, we all have to take care of each other, then that'll solve, every single issue that there ever exists in the world. There'll be no need for killing, there'll be no need for stealing, there'll be no need for anything other than petty arguments that, that people get into because of human nature anyway. In Lakesh, that means I am another you. And that alone really brings, clarity to the entire situation. You realize that if I am you and you are me, then there is no separation. You should love me just as much as you love yourself. What did Beyonce say? I pour into you, you pour into me, there's no drought here. And yeah, pretty much I go, more in depth and tell her, once people get into that mindset, we transfer over and we actually realize, instead of just, having a discussion and then letting it go to the ether, then we can tear down society pretty much. I know it sounds a little bit like crazy, but when you know there needs to be a change, you're gonna make room for the change. You have to start somewhere. You can't fill up a bottle with any other substance if there's already something inside of it. You have to empty it out first, break it down to refill it, to restart, to make it better. Society is really run through fear, because if everybody's always thinking, they're scared to stand up and scared to speak out and scared to even make the change or make the switch in their mind, then nothing will ever come of it. Fear is really the greatest thief of all joy. My mentor told me that. And of course, she's giving me the little pessimistic side here, so I gotta keep the optimism flowing now. I gotta keep it, pumping. So I tell her that love is really the answer to all of our problems on this earth. Because if you love me and I love you, then you never want to see each other, going through any hard times. You want to make sure one another is as good as we possibly can be. Whether that's having food in our belly, whether that's having a roof over our head, whether that's having clothes on our back, whether that's just feeling okay if you see somebody who's outside struggling or sad or whatever, just take a moment out of your day and ask, are they okay? And that can make them feel better. I literally just did it yesterday. There was somebody sitting outside on the curb, literally crying. And so I parked my car and I asked, are you okay? You need help? What's wrong? I asked him what the scenario was. And, at first he didn't want to tell me, but so I drove away. But then I came back around. I was like, you know what? I know clearly something's wrong with you. So we can talk about it if you want to. And then we did for a little while. And he ended up telling me the situation. And by the end of it, he told me that he never expected somebody to come and ask him if he was okay or even check up on him. And that made him feel better. Something as so simple as that can really show love. When you put out love, you receive love. And even if it's not about receiving love, it's about making the world a better place in general. The more you put out, the more you'll see in return, the more you'll get in return. And then we have here a part where she asks me, since I'm so strung up on love, which, why wouldn't I be? She asks me if I'll be able to tell anybody who I meet, like whether a stranger or a friend or anybody, if I could tell them that I love them. And my answer is yes, because once you realize who you are, again, in Lakesh, then you start to realize that there's no real room for fear or no room for hate. Once you push all of that out of your life, then the only thing that can really exist is love. And again, love is really the only thing we need in order to create a perfect utopia, like the word she used in the chat here. Yeah, I know that was a random chat, but I just felt like I needed to bring that to the channel so that we could have a serious discussion aside from anime, aside from demons, aside from whatever else other topic that we're going to talk about in the future. This will be a good one because it can bring awareness to people who don't really understand or don't really feel, the way I feel about this topic, or who don't even really consider it as a possibility. Love can really be the end-all cure to everything on this planet. I know I'm sounding a little bit far out, a little spacey, but that's the kind of discussion people need to have and the kind of talks people need to hear in order to even plant the seed in the first place. Because there's so much hate in the world, so much separation, which is an illusion. But without dragging on too much further, thank you so much for coming to the channel again today. I genuinely appreciate you as always. Be sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed today's discussion. Press the subscribe button if you want to see more content like this in the future. and leave a comment down below if you agree with me or if you disagree with me, and or if you just want to add your 2 cents into the discussion. I really want to hear what you have to say about this topic. And be sure to come back to the channel for the next video, because we might have another deep discussion like this. Thanks again for listening to this Wild Thoughts video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. One love. See you in the next one.